Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the NTW2025 for Safe for Teams with Certified Safe Practitioner Preparatory course class. I'm happy to welcome you all today. We're excited to have you join us for this insightful session. I would now like to introduce our trainer, Sir Badri Srinivasan, who will be leading today's class. Sir Badri, over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Gigi.
Welcome, sir.
Hello, everyone. Good morning and welcome to this masterclass on Safe for Teams. Let me just share my screen. So today we are going to look at the Scaled Agile model, Scaled Agile framework, Safe for Teams certification course. There are a lot of courses in the Safe framework, and one of those courses is Safe for Teams, where we look at how you are working in the Safe framework as part of a team in an IT project in your organization. And this two-day program, once you complete, you get the certificate, Safe Practitioner. So what exactly are we going to learn in this course? That's very important to understand here first. So if you see, the masterclass is on Safe for Teams, and we'll be looking at how Safe is implemented for teams in the organization. So in the organization, if we have running many projects, and you are part of some of those projects as team member, developer, tester, or UI developer, or project manager, program manager, whichever roles you are playing, you need to understand how Safe for Teams is implemented, because these are basic courses which enable you to understand how to implement Safe for Teams and how you can play a role in that team as part of the Safe framework. So if you have this skill, it builds your capability to work in a scaled agile framework environment, and you can do better delivery for the customer. So that is the important thing that we have to understand here. As a framework, scaled agile framework is very big. There are a lot of things there. So they have different courses to target different audience. In this case, you will understand your role in a safe enterprise transformation, and you will understand how to collaborate effectively with other teams on the ART, Agile Release Train. So before we go further, one important term we need to understand, which is called ART, A-R-T. It is also known as Agile Release Train. So in an organization, we have many teams. Each team is made up of some people, 5 to 11 members. They could be developer, tester, or they could be Scrum Master, they could be Kanban coordinator. It could be any type of implementation that you have, whether you are doing Scrum implementation or Kanban implementation. You could be doing any type of agile implementation. Now, in the department, you have many teams which are working in different agile approaches. Maybe one team is doing Scrum, one team is doing Kanban, one team is doing hybrid, both Scrum and Kanban. One team may be doing some other agile approach like feature-driven development. So all the teams can be doing different agile implementations. But now all the teams have to work together to deliver a bigger product for the customer. In this case, the teams are dependent on each other. And suppose you have 5 teams, team A, team B, team C, team D, and team E. All of them have to work together to deliver the one single product to the customer. So A is working with B, B with C, C with D, D with E, and all work together. And there are dependencies among these teams. Then how do we do the work? So we have different techniques to do that. So when we do agile across teams in multiple teams, that is called scaling. So that is why we have scaling models in the industry, and there are different models. Like you have scaled agile framework, you have large scale Scrum, you have disciplined agile delivery, and you have simple techniques like Scrum or Scrums and other techniques. So among that, we are looking at scaled agile framework, which is a scaled agile model for managing teams, multiple teams which are dependent and working together. Now, in order for these teams to deliver a product to the customer, there has to be one more structure so that they can do it in a coordinated manner. If each team does their own work, then the coordination is lost. So all these 5 teams, A, B, C, D, E, they work together. So when you say these teams work together, you say it is a team of teams. So we have a team of teams working together to understand how to deliver value to the customer. And then when we say team of teams, we give a name to it. It is called Agile Release Train. So Agile Release Train is the name for the team of teams. And this helps us to work together as a team of teams to deliver value to the customer. And that is how this delivery happens for the customer. In order to understand that, we have a course called Safe for Teams, which focuses on how to work together in a team and interact with other teams and deliver value to the customer through the art, Agile Release Train. And you will also master the skills needed for successful team planning and execution. So in the team, how do we plan the various activities? How do we execute it? How are we part of the Agile Release Train? All these things you will understand. And finally, you will also understand what practical tools can be used for remote and distributed team collaboration and various other things. Because some people may be working remote, some may be working physically at the organization. So how can we interact with all these things and deliver value to the customer? So these are the key things and the key skills you will learn in Safe for Teams. And these are basic skills that you will understand as you build your skill in this area. So we have this framework called Scaled Agile Framework. So you have the scaledagileFramework.com where you get a high-level idea or overview about what is Scaled Agile Framework. And earlier, they used to give many of the articles free on the site, but now those articles have become paid. So you need to be a member to access those articles. However, at the top level, you will be able to get some idea about that. So the main focus of Scaled Agile Framework is on business agility, how to improve business agility in the organization and deliver value for the company or the enterprise. So in this course, Safe for Teams, we are looking at 2 domains which are highlighted here. We are looking at team and technical agility and agile product delivery. So team and technical agility is at the lower level, that is at the team level, and agile product delivery is at the higher level, that is at the program level. So we have team level, program level. These 2 things together is called Essential Safe, Essential Scaled Agile Framework. And these are the basic things needed for understanding how to work in a team that is using Scaled Agile Framework. So in this 2-day program, we'll be learning about some of these various aspects related to these domains. And that will help us to understand the safe and the complex way of doing the things. Because as you can see here, this is the basic framework. So you have 9 domain areas. So we will be looking at various areas here. So 8 or 9 areas will be there. And all these areas together become the competence areas. So you have team and technical agility, product delivery, solution delivery, portfolio management, organizational agility, continuous learning culture, lean agile leadership, and customer centricity. So overall, these 7 domains or the competency areas cover various aspects of Scaled Agile Framework. And the focus is on customer centricity, which is in the center. And as per this, we have different courses for catering for each of these areas. So you may have some other course for lean portfolio management, LPM. So that is another separate course. And this course that we are looking at, the Safe for Teams, it focuses on these 2 areas or domains. And inside each of these domains, you have 3 specific areas for each one which we focus. So if you see in each one, we have 3 areas that we focus. And within that, you have some more practices and things like that. So that is how the whole Scaled Agile Framework structure is set up. So you can see that it's slightly complicated and it will take some time to understand. But in our 2-day program on Safe for Teams, we'll understand all these things. So you will have a head start on people who don't know Scaled Agile Framework for Teams. And when you join any company or you're working in a company, which is already implementing SAFe or has implemented SAFe, knowing this SAFe for teams will help you to do your work better, and you can deliver better business value for the organization. So that is the focus here. So what are the core values in SAFe? So all SAFe basic details, when we look at, they have a set of core values. In all the courses, we'll be looking at these same core values only, because that is the same core values for SAFe. Because any framework, when you take, you will have a set of values, set of principles, set of practices, and tools. This is the hierarchy of a framework. High level, you have values. Next level, you have the principles. Next level, you have the practices. And the lowest level, you have the tools. You might have use different types of tools which can be used for managing your work and automating the activities. And in today's AI world, that is artificial intelligence world, these become more important for us to understand all this and how we can operate in a complex environment where we are looking at being agile and also being artificial intelligence aware, AI aware. So all these things work together. And if you have skills in all these areas, you are a value for the organization and you can deliver better value to the customer. So understanding these concepts are very important, which will help you to thrive in the AI world. So if you look at core values, we have some basic core values here like alignment, transparency, all these things we will learn. So how to align with our core objectives in the organization. How do we communicate vision, mission, strategy? How do we connect strategy to execution? How do we speak with a common language? That means how do we speak so that others understand? How do we check for the understanding? And how do we understand the customer? So all these things come under alignment, and this is part of SAFe core value. We also look at transparency, because that is very important for us to build a high trust environment so that we can do the activities without getting bogged down by impediments and obstacles. How do we communicate directly, openly, honestly? And how do we turn mistakes into learning moments? Okay, we had a mistake, so how do we learn from that? How do we visualize work? So basically, scaled agile framework is based on the backbone of Kanban. So Kanban is also an agile method, and Kanban focuses on visualized work. So SAFe uses Kanban extensively for setting up its own framework and also for running Kanban for projects. So if you see the backlog which is used for all the projects, it could be in the SAFe itself, you will see the backlog, the team backlog and the other backlogs. They'll all be running on a Kanban method. I will show you that shortly. And that helps us to visualize work. And then how do we provide access to information? That is the transparency. So we look at those aspects also, because transparency is very important for doing the work. So that is a SAFe core value. We also have respect for people and relentless improvement. So respect for people is coming from lean. So lean is also another way of doing the things. So that is why in SAFe, we generally say lean agile. We don't say only agile, but we say lean agile, because SAFe has derived the framework from both lean and agile. And so we say lean agile leaders, lean agile framework. We don't only say agile framework, agile leaders. And the respect for people, it focuses on how to be human, what is the value diversity, how to grow people through coaching and mentoring, and how to work with your customer in a better way, and things like that. And how do we build long-term partnerships that help us to have mutual benefit and a win-win situation for both of us. And finally, we have relentless improvement. That is nothing but continuous improvement, where you try to improve continuously, whatever level you are. So you always have a sense of urgency, and you build a problem-solving culture. The focus is on problem solving. So we try to solve problems. And from the problems, how can we get some learnings, and how can we build the things so that we can deliver more value to customer? Because always customer will look at how can we get more value from our vendors, suppliers, and other people. So we also align with that same type of mindset. We also reflect and adapt frequently because agility is also about reflection and adaptation. We may not be working blindly, but we see where the gaps are, how to improve further. So that is nothing but part of our continuous improvement. And this is based on facts, not on opinions, beliefs, or something like that. Whatever fact data you get, from the data, it will guide improvement. So you need a lot of data points. So you will see how we are doing the things, how you collect the metrics, and then it guides improvement. And finally, we provide time and space for innovation. So all these things we will discuss in the 2-day program. Now, at a high level, if you have understood the core values, we look at lean agile principles. So these are various lean agile principles, which we'll be discussing extensively in our 2-day program, because there you will understand all the 10 principles. Each one builds on the other, and we'll go deep into these areas. So here we are not discussing the principles because it is very detailed and it includes a lot of things. But you will understand that when we are doing the Safe for Teams program, you will get to know all these principles and how we can apply this for our project to deliver better value to the customer. And all these 10 principles are focused on various things. But the one which is in blue, that is specifically for Safe for Teams. The other principles which are there, that is also used in other areas at program and other levels. So we'll focus more on the ones which are in blue, that is principle 4, 5, 6, 7, and 10, and how these can help the team to understand and deliver better value for the customer. So that is the important thing we need to know. In this 2-day program, we'll have some exercises, some discussions, and we will learn how to do this across various projects, and that will help us to do this activity. And moving forward, this is the course overview. So we will look at how do we plan and execute work, how do we continuously improve, how do we deliver value for the customer, how do we collaborate effectively, and most important, how do we apply scaled agile framework and agile principles and understand what is an art, agile release train, and how do we deliver value for the customer. So we will have some simulations. We may discuss about what is agile release train, how to manage it, and things like that. And 2-day program, it teaches you how to plan and execute the work, how to apply scaled agile framework and agile principles, and how to apply it to the teams, and how to hit the ground running and manage your activities in the team. So all this give added value for your skills, and you'll be able to do better in your team environment. And this is through hands-on exercise, examples, discussions. So you'll gain practical skills which you can immediately apply in your daily work. So the focus is on both the practices and soft skills, and you will learn to balance your autonomy in the team with alignment, speed, and individual contribution. So these are some of the things you will see in the 2-day program where you learn all these things. So now let us look at the learning objectives, the most important that you have to understand. If you are doing the Safe for Teams course, what do you learn here? So the key things that you learn after completing this course and building your skills are, first you will understand what is your role on the team, on the agile team, and what is your team's role on the art, agile release train. And then you will see what are your specific responsibilities within the agile team, and how does your team contribute to the agile release train. As I told you earlier, the agile release train is nothing but a team of teams. Suppose I have 5 teams or 10 teams. All of them are dependent and work with each other on a big product. Then together they are called as an art. And the agile release train then sees how the work has to be done and how we have to deliver value to customer. And all those things are taken care of in the art. So that will help us to learn team dynamics and cross-functional collaboration, and how you can align your work with the program objectives. So art is at the program level, and the nature of the teams and the work you're doing at the team is at the team level. So you can see that SAFE has got multiple levels. So we will understand that also. And how do you apply SAFE principles to scale lean agile delivery? So you will understand the fundamental principles of SAFe and also some practical techniques for implementing Lean Agile at scale. And you'll also learn how to balance the team autonomy and balance it with the program level alignment, because that is all important. Ultimately, you should be aligned, and you cannot have all teams going in different directions. Then you cannot deliver value to the customer. So first thing is to be aligned and then focus on delivering value. The third objective is how do we plan and execute iterations and PIs? So if you see what is an iteration, it is nothing but your sprint in Scrum. So in Scrum, if you are having some basic knowledge, you will understand that it is made up of sprints. And you should also be knowing that sprints are fixed time duration. So instead of sprints, we call it as iterations. Both are having the same meaning. And so you will learn how to plan and execute iterations and how do you plan PAs. So PA stands for planning interval. It means how do we plan for a big chunk of work to be done. And this work is done by the art in a larger time period. As you know, the sprint is for 1 to 4 weeks, but the PAs are not for 1 to 4 weeks, but they are for at least 3 months, 12 weeks, 8 to 12 weeks. So you see, bigger work is taken up in the PI. And as we break down that work in the PI, which is typically 8 to 12 weeks, you will be doing multiple sprints within that PI. So maybe one PI could be having 8 sprints or 10 sprints or 12 sprints. It all depends on how you define the PI, how do you define the sprint, how many weeks each sprint is, and things like that. So maybe I define a sprint for 2 weeks. Then I might have 4 to 6 sprints within the PA, 8 to 12 weeks. So typically PA is max 12 weeks, not more than that. And within that, we work out all the sprints for various teams. So within that PA, you will have all these 5 or 10 teams working together. And all the teams will start on the same day and end on the same day. That is alignment. And you will have 5 sprints for each team or 6 sprints, whatever you define. All the teams will follow the same approach. So you will learn how to do iterations, how to do PI. And finally, you will learn how to continuously improve the art. Okay, there are some issues. Team performance is not okay. One team is slow. One team is fast. How do we manage these things? How do you identify bottleneck? How do you implement improvements? All these things we will learn in the course. You will also learn how to do and participate in program level retrospectives. So how to manage the retrospective and things like that. And it will also contribute to the evolution of your agile release train. So all these things you will be learning in those 2-day program. This is your core learning objectives. And some of the key questions that we answer in the 2-day program are agile team function. So what does an agile team function inside of an art? So inside the art, you have a lot of teams, right? 5 to 10 teams. So what do these agile teams function? What do they do? We discussed that also. And we understand team dynamics. We understand the team structure and roles within SAFe. We understand the daily operations. We integrate with the art cadence. Okay, if the cadence is 5 sprints, all the teams should be operating on 5 sprints. Then how do we plan and execute? How do we, as an agile team, plan and execute iterations? And the PA, the planning interval. How do we do that? One important thing to understand here is that when you're doing this course, SAFe for teams, you should already have basic knowledge of agile. Because that basic knowledge we may not focus fully in the 2-day program. We'll only just touch upon it. It's a prerequisite. It's understood that you know basic agile, and now you're looking at building your skills to scale agile. So the focus here is on scaling agile. And you will understand some techniques for planning and execution, that is iteration planning best practices, how to participate in the PA, and some metrics and delivery commitments and how to manage them. And then you look at inter-team collaboration. Maybe how do we work with other teams on the art to deliver value? And how do we coordinate the work? How do we communicate effectively and contribute to program level objectives? So how do we manage dependencies? How do we do cross-team communication? How do we share resources? All these things you'll understand. We will also learn about business agility what it is and how it is to be managed, and the lean agile mindset. So the business agility focuses on responding quickly to market opportunities, making quick decisions, quick informed decisions, and how do we align with the customer value streams, and how do we foster innovation, experimentation, etc. So all these things we learn. And then we look at the lean agile mindset. So the mindset focuses on various principles to create an effective and responsive organization through respect for people and culture. These are already part of the core value which we saw earlier. So respect for people and culture, flow-based thinking, and looking at innovation through learning, and also focus on customer-centric delivery. So all these aspects we will touch upon and see how to build a lean agile mindset, which will help you to understand how to work with the teams that are in a safe environment. So what are the core competencies and safe values we are looking at? So we are looking at agile product delivery. So we are looking at how to create valuable products through customer-centric approaches, and how do you master some techniques for high-level continuous delivery, understanding the customer needs, delivering solutions, etc. We look at some other techniques like how do we explore practice for market research, user feedback, and iterative development. All these are part of agile product delivery. Then we look at team and technical agility. This is the most important fundamental basic unit of the safe for teams. Here we look at how to build high performing teams and technical excellence, and what are the key attributes of quality code and what we should look at. Then how the automated testing happens, and continuous integration. We also understand how to foster collaboration, establish effective ceremonies, and implement engineering best practices which enhance team productivity and solution quality. So these are some of the things we look at in team agility. And finally, we are also looking at the safe core values which we saw earlier. So we have those basic core values where we understand the fundamental principles that guide the safe implementation, and how these values shape the culture. It should be a learning culture. How does it influence your decisions? And how can you drive successful enterprise transformation? So we look at some real world examples and how these values create better outcomes. So these are some of the things which we need to focus in this 2-day program. We'll also learn about agile team characteristics and roles. What is an agile team and what are the characteristics and roles of the agile team? So we'll learn what is cross-functional teams, what is the leadership for Scrum Master, how does Scrum Masters coach the team in agile practices if you are using Scrum, or Kanban coordinators if you are doing Kanban. How do you guide the product owners to manage the backlog, define stories, ensure alignment? So you see the Scrum Master is also known as a team coach. So Scrum Master also coaches the teams on various aspects, and you will also learn how as a team member you have to be aligned with all these aspects. And how do the development team collaborate? So you'll understand cross-functional teams and how they collaborate, and how do you work closely with subject matter experts and shared service. So you see each role and characteristic contributes to the team's ability to deliver value and enhance business agility. And these teams, they work together as they're dependent, they respond to change effectively within the agile release stream, ART. One important factor to note here is if the teams are not dependent on each other, then you cannot have the agile release stream. Then there is no need to have agile release train. All the teams will work independently, right? So we don't have agile release train. The agile release train or ART is set up only when you have teams which are dependent on each other for delivering a big product. For example, you have a big product to be delivered to the automobile industry. It's a computer application which will guide the car on its own. For example, you are doing it for Mercedes-Benz or the Porsche racing car. So you need an automated electronic system, and the IT systems have to be integrated with the car. So for that, you will have maybe a big application you're developing. It cannot be done by one team. So you may need some 5 to 10 teams to work on the same application. So one team will work on the front end, one team will work on back end, or multiple teams may work on front end and back end. So it all depends on how complex the product is. And then you may have some other teams which are working on the middle and some specific areas like a UI, for example, user interface and things like that. So ultimately, you have about 5 to 10 teams, and the typical size of an agile release train is 50 to 125. You generally don't have more than 125 people in the train. So these 125 people are distributed across the multiple teams. Maybe you have 5 teams, 10 teams, whatever. If you have 125, generally you'll have 10 plus teams. If you have around 5 teams, mostly it will be 50 people or so. Because our team size is also regulated, right? 5 to 11 members for the team. If it is more than 11, then you have multiple teams. If it is more than 125, you have multiple agile release trains, arts. So you may not have one art, you may have multiple arts. So it all depends on how you are setting up your structure for delivering value to the customer. So these things you need to discuss with the team members and then work out how the structure is built. However, as a team member, you won't be doing this directly. There will be other roles in this Scrum, in this scaled agile framework, who will be working these out, but you also contribute to these type of discussions and thinking. So these are some things you will learn when you are doing this 2-day program on Safe for Teams. And as I told you earlier, we generally follow Scrum or Kanban for our IT projects to deliver value to the customer, especially if it is an agile project. So if you are using either Scrum or Kanban, it does not matter. Both are used in Safe, so it's perfectly fine. And Scrum in Safe, it uses time box iterations to deliver value through ceremonies and roles. And the typical Scrum events happen in Safe. At the team level, if you are using Kanban for your team, then also it is perfectly fine. You will do typical Kanban events like visualize workflow, establish WIP, flow metrics, and implement pull system. All this you will do to implement Kanban systems to visualize and optimize the workflow delivery. So all these also you will do in Kanban, but it is managed in Safe. So these are some of the things you need to understand: how to run your team or how to be aligned in your team, which is practicing Scrum or Kanban within the boundary of the scaled agile frame. So all these things we'll discuss in the 2-day program. And we'll also discuss about agile release train. What is an agile release train? What are the characteristics? What are the various roles in agile release train? You will be seeing all those things in the course. So you will see it is a team of agile teams. And these teams, they don't disband overnight, because one typical PA, as I told, will take you around 8 to 12 weeks, right? So that means at least a quarter. So every quarter you may have a PA. So maybe for the year you'll have 4 PAs or 3 PAs, depending on how the work is structured. And these teams work together for the whole year. They won't keep changing the teams because all the teams are relatively stable. And that is why we call it team of agile teams. When we say agile team, we may call it as a feature team or squad or any other terms we want to call, depending on what type of culture we have implemented. Is it Spotify culture or some other culture? And the names vary, but the basic concepts remain the same. And the teams are all aligned to a common mission. And we have some roles like RT, release train engineer, who is looking after the art. So he's the person who is going to set up the art and set up the design for all that. And in this course, we'll see as a team member, how do we interact with this RT and how do we do the things and various other things like that. We'll also see as part of the team, how do we interact with product management? How do we align with that goal? And things like that. And finally, we have some other roles like system architect, engineer. These people are the ones who set up the continuous delivery pipelines for your project, and they see that your project is running smoothly and the dev team can deliver the code, and that can be built into a package which can be deployed to production so that the customer can test it out and work on it and things like that. So these are the system architects, engineers. They are also part of the art, and this is another role. So as a team member, you will know how to interact with all these people. And maybe you are also performing one of these roles, then that's quite good. You may also learn how to manage these roles. So these are the various things you'll be learning in the 2-day program. And you will also learn about the customer centric approach and product vision. Because as we know, SAFE is purely focused on the customer. So the focus is on a customer centric delivery. And if you're delivering a big product to the customer, like I told you, a dashboard application for a Mercedes Benz car or a Porsche racing car, you need to have product vision and then how you develop the product discovery, etc. So all those things you will do. So you need to have a customer centric mindset, a basic product vision, and then a product roadmap. What are you will deliver in the product? What are the milestones? And you will also break that into story and feature components. So you might use some tools like Jira or maybe some other tools, whichever you are using, version 1. These are all generally tools which are used for agile projects. So you might see, okay, we are using the tool, and you can use the tool to set up all these structures and set up the requirements in the form of stories and features, and then do the work and deliver to customer. So as part of that, how all the things are integrated, how you need to be aligned, all those concepts you'll come to learn, and it will become much easier for you to work in a company where you have the safe environment and you are a member of the team. And that way, this course is very useful for you to build your skills as a team member who knows safe. Then we also look at planning and execution in safe. So how do you do the planning? How do you do the execution, etc. So we may say that writing an estimation, how to do the estimation, how to see the team backlog, how do you do team planning, how do we do PA planning, what is the role of my team in that PA planning, all these things we'll understand. So this will give you a very good idea about how to work as a team member in a team as part of the art. And if you don't have the art also, it's perfectly fine. How to work as a team member in a team that is following safe or working in a safe environment. So you can see the skills that you're going to develop when you do this course. So now let's look at this course a bit deeper. What are the topics covered in this course? In Safe for Teams 2-day program, these are the various topics covered. We have different lessons, exercises, and other things which will help you to build your skill. So the first lesson is focusing on what is safe. So you need to understand all those things, right? So basic things you'll understand. But please note the prerequisite is you already know a bit of Agile. You know Scrum, you know a bit of Kanban. That helps you to understand further. In the course, we will discuss a bit about Scrum and Kanban, but it will not be in a deep form because that is not the focus. Focus here is on scaling Agile, as I told. So we'll be looking at predominantly safe and how it is used for teams. And then we will look at lesson 2, where we'll form Agile teams as an Agile release train. What is an art, how it works, and things like that. Then in lesson 3, we look at connect to the customer. How do you connect to the customer? Customer-centric delivery. How do we do the product vision roadmap and things like that? Lesson 4 is very important for the team member. How do I plan my work? How should I do my work within this safe environment? How do I do the estimation? How do I do my team backlog? How do I do team planning? And things like that. Lesson 5 focuses on delivering value for the customer. So value is more to see how we have written the code, how we can deploy the code and things like that. And this is based on the continuous delivery pipeline using any continuous delivery tools that you may use. And how do you sync events? How do you build in quality and things like that? In lesson 6, we look at how to get feedback. So I have done my work as a team member. I have delivered to the customer. But how do I get feedback? How do I know what's happening? So we learn some feedback techniques. And another way is we will look at team and system demo. So how do we do the demo and how the customer reacts to our demo. So team demo is only our team doing the demo. System demo is all the teams together doing the demo. So system demo is the full product increment that you're delivering to customer. So together the teams will say, some team members from each of the teams will join together, and the customers will also be there and other stakeholders. And together you will do the system demo for the whole PA. Whereas team demo is more like you do your own work for the team, and that is demo to the product owner or requirements manager as part of only your team. Other teams will do only for their team. So they'll all do it in isolation. But then at system demo, which is an important event in the PA planning, in the end, as part of the PA, you will be doing the system demo. So a PA has got various events. One of the event is PA planning that we learn. Another event is system demo. So like these various events are. So we learn how the system demo is worked out, because what happens, why system demo is critical is, in my team demo, my application component will work very well. It's working fine and all. Other teams will also say that. But when you come to system demo, it will fail. Because when you integrate your work with other teams' work, there is some problem. You would not have seen that they are done in a different way. So there is a communication gap, there is a silo. You would have been working separately, they are working separately. So all these things need to be synced. That is why you have to regularly have these system demo and see that errors don't occur. And it's not easy to integrate all the work of 5 teams, 10 teams and all. It requires a lot of practice and a lot of expertise to build to that level. So many teams, they don't reach that level. So there is some gap, some lag is there, and spillover is there, and they struggle. And then over a period of time, they build it. So system demo is a powerful event in the PA. The next thing is lesson 7, where you improve relentlessly. The focus is mainly on flow, competency, outcomes, and things like that. Finally, we look at lesson 8, practicing safe, where we see what are the certification benefits of safe, what community platform benefits that is available to us, and some other resources that I will tell you, which will help you to understand and learn some things more about safe. Because safe is a slightly complicated framework. You cannot learn everything in very short time. It will take some time to slowly build your skills in all areas. So starting off with a Safe for Teams basic course will enable you to understand a lot of things. Then you do your own self-learning and build some more techniques and skills. And then you again look for other safe courses and then build the skills. It happens like that only. So you will take a minimum of 6 months or more than that to become more comfortable with overall safe framework and see how to use it. Because initially it will be a bit too complicated. So breaking it down into multiple levels enables you to build your skills over a period of time. And what is the course structure? So in the 2-day program, we'll be focusing on various lessons, as I told. This is the percentage. Maybe even in the after this course gets over, you will have to write an exam, and the exam will have some weightage in the sense some focus in each area. All the questions are equally treated, but you will have around 6 to 12% questions coming from lesson 1, 20% questions coming from lesson 2, like that. So if you look at lesson 1, whatever we did earlier, about 6 to 12% questions will come from that. And you learn about business agility, mindset, and all that. Lesson 2, you learn about strengths and what are the focus on arts. Lesson 3 will be connected to the customer. And then lesson 4 is plan the work. So like this, you will be looking at various lessons, and some way percentage would be given to each of the lessons. So the questions will come like that. Basically, it is a typical normal exam that we like you do for other exams. And you have a set of questions, there are no negative marks, and you have to get a minimum pass percentage. That will not be revealed directly, but mostly it is more than 75% or around 80% or so. Exact things won't be revealed. So as you come, it's an online exam. Once you complete, you will immediately get the result pass of it. So that is how it works. So once you have passed it, you can then go to your community portal, log into your profile, and you can download your certificate. So that's how the whole thing is. And after the course 2-day program gets over, you have to write the exam within 30 days. because the fee for the program that you pay, it covers one free exam, which is within 30 days. If you miss the deadline, you will have to pay $50 or something to write one more exam because you could not do within the deadline. And in case you don't clear the exam, you again have to pay some amount and then write the exam again. So those are some of the modalities you will have to plan in advance so that you are better positioned and you can clear the exam within the 30 days and get the certificate. The certificate comes from SAFE directly and it will be there in your profile. When you look at your profile in the community, in your portal, you can access your certificate. And then you have lesson 5 that focus on deliver value, and lesson 6 which focus on get feedback. We already saw this, right? Some various percentages are allocated for this, for the question. And then the last lesson, it focuses on improve relentlessly. Again, you have percentage for that. You may get some few questions on this area. In your portal profile, you will also be able to access a sample exam paper, which you can do it many times, but the same questions will come randomly. You won't get different questions, but you can simulate one actual exam so you feel more comfortable. And you should be able to get around 90% or more in that exam over a period of time. Then you are more or less ready and you can write the exam. But the flip side is it is just one paper you will get, and the same questions will be repeated multiple times as a demo so that you can build the skills. But you have to remember that the actual exam may be slightly more difficult than the mock exam or sample paper that is there in your profile. So this way you need to plan all that and then complete it so that you can get your certificate. So this is the course structure. And depending on which course you take, you get a certification. So if you take SAFE for Teams, you get SAFE Practitioner certificate. If you do some other course, you get some other certificate. So you see there are lots of different certificates here based on which area you are focusing. So this course, what we are looking at today is SAFE for Teams. It's a 2-day program. We get the certificate SAFE Practitioner. So at this level, I will stop. But before that, I'll just show you the site so that you learn something more on that. So let me just go to that. So if you see here, this is scaledagileframework.com, and this is your complete scaled agile framework focus. So you have the team and technical agility here, agile product delivery here. These are the competency areas. So the 7 competency areas are shown here, the domains, and within that you have all these things. So you can click in any one of these places and it will take you to that page. You can click here. So this is a completely clickable thing. Earlier they used to give this free, but now you will have to log in, sign in, and you may have to be a member or something so that you can get some access to each one of these areas. So our focus is on this agile product delivery and team technical agility as part of the art flow. So you see here, you can see that SAFE has got 4 levels: team level, program level, solution level, and portfolio level. So during the course, we'll briefly touch upon this high level bird's eye view, but our focus will predominantly be on teams, SAFE for Teams. So we'll be looking only at these two, team flow and art flow. So this whole thing we'll be looking at in the 2-day program, and this is called essential SAFE. I mean basic SAFE, which you need to understand in order to operate in a team that is working in the scaled agile framework environment. So I hope this gives you a high level picture about what SAFE is and how you will perform your roles in the team. And you can click at the top to see the big picture. So you'll get a big picture here. You can see essential SAFE, only those two, large solution, portfolio, and finally full. I mean, where you have all the 4 levels. So SAFE has 4 levels. But many companies, they don't use the 4 levels. They may use 2 levels, 3 levels, or something like that. But these are the minimum things you need to understand, which we'll discuss in the 2-day program for you to be comfortable with the high level big picture, and you will be able to then slowly start implementing it and learn more. So with this, I'll stop my share. We have about 10 minutes or so. And if any questions are there, we can discuss.
Thank you so much for today's session, Sir Basan.
Yeah, thank you, Gigi. If any questions, we can look at it.
Feel free to ask questions. Thank you.